It's the ugly reality of war. Video capturing the moments after a family was reportedly killed by a Russian military strike. Sunday, there was constant heavy shelling north and west of the capital city, Kyiv. Russian military bombarding a checkpoint for civilian evacuations, leaving at least 2 children dead, according to Ukrainian authorities.
They are preparing to bomb Odessa. This will be a war crime. This will be a historic crime.
There are reports that to date more than 360 civilians have been killed and many more injured. But the UN says the real death toll likely much higher.
What are they trying to achieve? To bring us to our knees?
The emotion raw as children and families flee Ukraine. This stadium in Moldova packed with refugees. The UN estimating at least 1.5 million have crossed into neighboring countries in 10 days. This piano man playing for peace, greeting refugees arriving in Poland. Sunday, American Express joining MasterCard and Visa in suspending operations in Russia. Netflix also suspending its services in Russia, and TikTok halting posting and live streaming in Russia too. In Lviv, a Molotov cocktail factory busy supplying civilians in several Ukrainian cities. The work also nonstop in this Ukrainian bookstore, now a factory for camouflage netting. And amid new fears that Russia will soon expand attacks to more major Ukrainian cities, President Zelensky making an urgent appeal to political leaders around the world.
If you don't at least give us airplanes so we can defend ourselves, the only thing we can think is that you also want us to be killed slowly.
U.S. officials confirm the White House is in talks with Poland on the possibility of backfilling their fighter jets so that Poland can give their Russian-made jets to Ukraine. And now the U.S. is also looking at new paths to stop the Russian onslaught.
Today, Russian oil and gas smells Ukrainian blood. So instead of donating money to us, just stop buying it.
We are now talking to our European partners and allies to look in a coordinated way at the prospect of banning the import of Russian oil.
From the night team, a teen tragedy. A 13-year-old girl from Milton has died in a boating accident while on vacation in Aruba with her family. Tonight, her neighbors and her school, they're at a loss. The night team's Justin Doherty is live in Milton with more on this story. Justin.
And Kiki, this really is a tragic situation. So many people are in mourning right now. They're trying to honor this 13-year-old girl, even putting ribbons up throughout this entire neighborhood where the family lives. So you can see the purple one there. Also, here's another one, again, on a tree. This is a blue ribbon here, even with handwritten letters. And again, so many are just stunned by this tragic news.
The beautiful picture that the family shared sums it up. I mean, that was her, this smiling, loved life little girl, and it's just what makes today and all of this so tragic.
A sad and somber day for many as ribbons now line this Milton street to honor 13-year-old Cassidy Murray. Neighbors stunned to learn Cassidy died Wednesday in Aruba while on a spring break trip with her mom, dad, and older brother.
As the news dominoed down the street, I think one by one, each family was more and more devastated by it. You know, it traveled quickly, and it was just, it took your breath away.
Details of her death have not been released, but her school in Cambridge, Buckingham, Brown, and Nichols, says it was a boating accident. BB&N releasing a statement about the 7th grader, saying she was active in her drama class and had just played hockey for the first time this winter after many years in gymnastics. The school also writing, in part, her ever-present smile, infectious laugh, and upbeat personality knit together any group she was a part of. Classmates gravitated to her because of her genuine kindness and quiet modesty. Friends say Cassidy was all that and more.
She was just this radiant, always smiling, always happy kid, the kind you looked out the front door and it was a reminder of all that's good in the world, that there are still really, really good people, and she was one of them, and we're going to miss her terribly.
Now, as this neighborhood waits for this family to return home, the middle school in Cambridge will be open tomorrow. They want to make sure that they are there for everyone to be in community. The middle school will be open from 10 o'clock to noon, so that way friends and family and also those counselors there at the school can come together to honor Cassidy. Live in Milton tonight, Justin Doherty, 7 News 19.
And the night team, Sam Bleiweiss, live at the scene tonight with the very latest. Sam.
Well, guys, I want to show you police tape still blocking this section of this whole stretch by the parking garage off. Very active scene still at this point, hours after that partial collapse. A number of emergency crews have left, but first responders, EMS, fire crews, Boston police, all still on the scene. One worker killed, still at the bottom of the rubble as far as we know, and emergency responders making sure the structure is stable before they can go in and recover him. New tonight, we are now seeing surveillance video from the moment that structure collapsed. New surveillance video from a nearby building showing that partial collapse. You see concrete and debris give way as the machine falls to the ground below.
This is a horrible tragedy, and my heart goes out to the family and loved ones of the worker here tonight.
Mayor Wu speaking tonight from the site of a partial collapse of the Government Center parking garage. One worker on the site killed, a passerby who authorities say saw it happen, taken to the hospital, but not physically injured. Officials saying the worker was in a piece of construction equipment plummeting 9 stories in the machine. Officials now working to clear the debris and recover him.
Right now we're in recovery mode, waiting on engineers to come in and make sure that the scene's safe before we remove the victim.
There was a demolition scheduled for this weekend at the garage, which has been under construction, and several MBTA diversions already in place. But now the question is whether or not there's any damage to the Orange Line tunnel underneath the collapse.
Right now, we have a major area of this part of the city quarantined until such time as we can determine that this building is safe.
Traffic at a standstill in the surrounding area for several streets, crews blocking that area off entirely, and access to the Sumner Tunnel going south completely shut down, with traffic flow expected to be cut off for hours on a busy Saturday night. All right, back now live, and you're taking a look at that structure where there was that scheduled demolition earlier today. Again, a lot of this had already been blocked off. The lines, the train underneath already blocked off. Of course, as they worked on this demolition here today, the lights now shining in as they now transition into recovery mode to bring that worker out of the rubble. The DA saying they don't believe there's anything criminal here, that this was just a horrible accident. But of course, this investigation is ongoing. Also want to mention, because we talked about it in the last half hour, people who have their cars on the other side of the Government Center garage, because this part was being worked on, but the other side, there are cars. I just, right before our live shot, listened to a girl walk up and she asked the police officer if she could get her car out of the parking garage. They said, yes, you can. Go in on the Boker Street entrance, and then on the Sudbury side, you can get out. So again, they are allowing some people to get in to get those cars. I just listened to that conversation with the officer there. They are working to make sure that this structure is stable at this point, and we're, of course, waiting for an update on that at this time. But now in full recovery mode as they work to get that worker out from underneath that rubble. We are going to continue to work to learn more information. That investigation is still ongoing. But for now, we're live in Boston. Sam Bleiweiss, 7 News 19.